Hello everybody, it's Professor Hernandez. I came back to make a video today because for the first time in several weeks I find myself with a few minutes to kill. So I figured what better way to pass the time than to answer a question that I got on my email. This question came from a fellow that is starting out in podcasting and starting out with the whole social media situation. But they were just really trying to get advice because they mentioned that they started their own podcast, they started their own social media channel and everything, and they've become a little bit obsessive with it, and it's gotten to the point where it started affecting their social, like school life. Their employment got terminated because they were constantly obsessing with the social media, with the checking up on their YouTube and all kinds of situations like that. So they got fired from their job. So he's become depressed, he's become a little upset, anxious about the whole situation. So they were just trying to reach out and ask what I think about this whole situation. First of all, I think for me, one of the main things that I've learned to manage with starting out a podcast and a video channel, whatever you want to call this, is just really to prioritize. I started this because I wanted to reach out and help people and just provide some sort of outlet for people who have no access to social or to mental health therapy, right? So free access to social, or to, I keep saying social media, free access to mental health advice through the social media for people who don't have access to mental health help otherwise. But also at the end of the day, for me, this is a hobby, right? I do have real life obligations that I must fulfill. I work full time, I teach, I'm doing my PhD, I have a personal life that I carry out, So the social media, the videos, the podcast, to me that's sort of a hobby, right? And as many of you guys have noticed, I haven't posted in a long time, and that's because I've been doing other things. I've been doing research, I've been working, I've been doing all kinds of things that were taking up my real world time, and that's absolutely fine. I mean, for me, it's really important to prioritize, especially if you're getting into this type of world with the social media, with the videos, recordings. We are becoming a very technologically dependent society. I think we have for a while. And one of the advantages that I personally feel like I have is that I'm 27 years old. I have a pretty good split in my life where I've lived almost half of my life in a world where technology didn't exist to the level that it is today, and the other half to modern time technologies where everybody has a phone in their hands and computers and access to everything else, right? So the advantage with that is that I remember what life was like before the technology. I remember what life was like before all the social media, all the apps, all the video games, all the virtual realities, everything. I remember what that was like. But I also know what life is like now that I have access to all these other devices, tablets, technologies, right? Something that maybe older people have not been able to grasp because they just don't take to technology as much, right? You'll see your mom and your aunt and your dads on Facebook and things like that, but they're not as involved with it as younger people are, right? So most of their lives was lives without technology. Now younger people have lived most of their lives, is not their only lives, with full access to technology. I have clients that are 5-6 years old that are full on able to manage phones, manage social medias, manage video games, and they don't know what life is like without the technology, right? So in this case, I think that's one of the advantages that I've able to had by understanding how both worlds work and understanding that my life is not over if I don't have my phone, or if I'm not checking a picture that I posted and it hasn't gotten any likes or anything like that. And that happens all the time. I've seen clients that post a picture, and if it doesn't get a certain amount of likes in a couple of minutes, they delete it and post it again later on what they call prime time hours. So it's really complicated for somebody who's kind of getting out and starting out to not be obsessive with it, because it's instant gratification, right? You get likes, you feel good right away, instead of waiting it out and kind of, developing your fan base or whatever you want to call it, it takes time, and that's where kind of everything is going towards that instant gratification, and that's what's making it difficult for a lot of people to really kind of navigate through this social media new technology world that we're living in. But really, my advice is just to try to relax, to try to take things easy and understand that your life is not over because you're not checking your social media all the time, or you're not getting likes on YouTube. I think my first podcast video that I posted over 2 months ago still only has like 20 views. That hasn't affected me at all. I did it, like I said, because I wanted to reach out or help people. Who knows? I mean, maybe later on in 10 years it will be a hit, but right now it's not affecting me in any way. And again, maybe it's just because I have this advantage of knowing what life was like before technology, but I think it's just we put too much weight behind it, and we put too much of our mental health behind the likes. We associate value of ourselves, we associate like our self-esteem with likes on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. So just try to cut back, man. That's my advice really, to you. I mean, one of the researches that I just finished was the relationship between screen, tablets, and obesity. And before that, I completed one about social media or time spent on social media and depression levels. Both of these studies show a clear correlation between the increased use of not only technological devices but also social media, with both of these factors that are negative. I mean, obesity and the use of screen devices was hand in hand. The more time you spend on a screen device, the higher the chances you have of being obese or developing obesity or overweightness. And the more time you spend on social media, the higher the rates of depression that you will experience. So, and that's just two of the most recent researches that I've done. So I could only imagine how many more studies and how many more researchers are out there that have found similar results. So what does that tell me? I mean, just on the two that I've done, I've cut back a ton. As it is, I'm not a thin person. I'm pretty overweight as it is. So imagine if I spent all my time in front of a screen device, like, it's gonna get out of control. So, just take some time back. Try to find beauty in other things. Maybe do some activities outside, some outdoor activities, or something else. Read a book. I mean, I haven't seen a real life person reading books in forever. It's all phones now. I mean, it's pretty incredible how this technology that's only been around for a few years has taken over so much of our lives, and it started affecting so much of what we do and what we are as people. So that's my advice, really. Just if you are going to be involved with the social media, with the YouTube, with everything like that, just post it and let it go and forget about it. I know it's easier said than done, but once you find yourself empowered enough to do that, you will feel so much better, and that's going to translate to your regular life as well. Like, you're going to feel like you don't have to depend on anybody else, or you feel like you don't have to depend on other people's opinions to feel good about yourself, and you just want to live your life on your own. And that's really all there is to it. Stop putting your well-being and your self-esteem in the hands of other people. That's the advice. That's, I know I ramble on and ranted, but that's really the simplest way to think about it. Focusing on social media likes and YouTube views and all that is putting your self-esteem, your mental health in the hands of somebody else. And what's the number one thing that you can find on the internet? Trolls and people that love to hate and give wrong, or not wrong, but just hateful opinions, or just people that are bored and just feel like, oh, you know what, I'm a shit on this guy for no reason just because I'm bored. So imagine putting your mental health, your self-esteem in the hands of people like that. Nah, that's not good. It's not healthy, and it's not going to be a good time for you, guarantee it. If not, just go ask people on Twitter, man. They are constantly making people feel depressed and feel suicidal and whatever. So just forget about it. Don't get so involved with it. Really, it's the main point in this whole super long rant video that I will upload for you guys. So thank you all. I hope to continue to post little videos like this, maybe little snippets of videos, and the podcast will be back on momentarily. I do, like I said, had a bunch of things going on, but everything's working out great, and hopefully the podcast will be back on maybe this week. If not this week, then next week for sure. But I am excited and looking forward to that, guys. So again, if you have any questions, feel free. Ask the Professor. You can send those questions into asktheprofessor.net, or you can email them at questions@asktheprofessor.net, or just DM me on social media. All right, guys, have a great day. Take care.